They miss what they can't own. Not what chased, not what clung, not what begged to stay, but what stood still when the world moved on. They miss what didn't need them, what didn't explain, what didn't collapse to be kept. The Stoics never asked to be remembered. They just lived so completely, so clearly, that forgetting them was impossible. Because presence without pressure is unforgettable. You want to be missed? Don't perform. Don't reach. Don't announce your absence. Just leave with dignity so loud they hear it long after you're gone. Stop trying to be missed. Become unforgettable. They don't miss noise. They miss presence. They miss clarity. They miss what felt grounded when everything else was grasping. You don't get remembered by chasing attention. You get remembered by walking away with something they never figured out. The Stoics didn't ask for impact. They embodied it, without effort, without noise, without follow-up. Because what's unforgettable isn't loud, it's unshakable. You want to echo in their mind? Then stop chasing memory and start becoming a standard they can't replace. Not because you're trying to be hard to reach, but because you finally become enough for yourself. Disappear with dignity, not blocked, not bitter, not broken, just gone, without noise, without explanation, without giving them a final chance to misunderstand you. The Stoics didn't slam doors. They simply stopped standing where they weren't seen. No message, no scene, just absence, sharp, clean, full. Because silence spoken from self-respect echoes louder than any final word. You don't disappear to punish, you disappear to protect your time, your peace, your name. And what they feel after, the questions, the weight, the sudden emptiness, that's not your doing. That's the void your clarity left behind. And some won't notice it right away. But eventually, they will. Build a life so full, no one can fill it but you. You want to be missed? Then don't be replaceable. Don't be empty. Don't be someone they only remember because of the space you left in them. The Stoics didn't orbit around people. They built gravity, and everything else adjusted to that pull. Your routines, your focus, your fire. These are not distractions. They are your foundation. A full life doesn't mean crowded. It means structured. Wake up early. Train hard. Work sharp. Disengage with peace. Love without need. Because when you're full, you don't chase being missed. You naturally become someone who doesn't vanish when they walk away. You become someone who carries a world no one else can replicate. And they'll feel that loss, not because you're gone, but because what you held stays heavy in the silence. Stillness is louder than chasing. You think they'll notice if you reach out, if you explain, if you try just once more. They won't. Not because they don't care, but because chasing turns you invisible. Noise blurs the outline. Need dulls the edge. But stillness cuts through. The Stoics didn't chase validation. They created a presence so rooted that when it left, the absence roared. You want them to feel it? Then stop folding, stop proving, stop spinning your worth in front of eyes that already looked away. Hold your shape, say nothing, let your silence do what words never could. Because nothing hits harder than realizing the one who stopped trying never needed to try in the first place. Let your absence speak louder than your explanations. They don't hear words. They feel distance. And sometimes what you stop saying hits deeper than all the things you tried to explain. The Stoics didn't argue for understanding. They walked. And in that silence, they became louder than before. You don't need closure, you need clarity. And clarity doesn't shout, it leaves. No drama, no speech, no need to make them get it. Your absence is the explanation. Your peace is the proof. Your silence is the signal. The moment you stop justifying, you start being remembered. Not for what you said, but for what your disappearance revealed. Not for the noise you made, but for the weight you left behind. Mystery isn't a game, it's guardianship. You don't need to be confusing, you need to be contained. Not everything about you should be visible. Not every thought should be shared. Not every emotion needs a witness. The Stoics weren't distant, they were guarded. Because what is sacred isn't spread. Mystery isn't a tactic, it's protection of energy, of power, of identity. Most people overshare to be seen. You pull back to stay whole. You want to be missed? Then don't be obvious. Don't be predictable. Don't let them memorize a version of you that's still unfolding. Let them feel that there was more. More they didn't touch, more they didn't earn. Because what they can't fully grasp will echo the longest. And what stays hidden often haunts the most. Detach without closing. Feel without folding. You can care without clinging. You can feel without falling apart. The Stoics didn't numb their hearts. They just refused to hand them over. Detachment isn't cold, it's control. It's knowing what's yours and what was never meant to be held. You want to be missed? Then don't collapse to be close. Don't turn soft just to stay seen. Feel deeply, but don't sink. Walk away with your chest open, not your spine broken. Let them remember how you stayed human, but never made your pain their responsibility. That contrast lingers, that silence holds, that still, breathing strength is what they'll keep long after the story ends. Not your anger, not your tears, but your ability to leave with both still intact. The less you need, the more they notice. Need is loud, it leaks, it bends your shape before they ever ask you to. But self-sufficiency? It's silent. And silence always gets noticed, eventually. The Stoics didn't live to impress, they lived to be whole. They didn't chase comfort, they chased capacity. You want to be missed? Stop needing them to miss you. Stop making their attention the currency of your worth. Build your calm. Sharpen your mission. Move like someone who doesn't need to be reminded they're enough. Because once you stop reaching, they'll start wondering. Once you stop craving, they'll start feeling the lack. And when you hold your own fire without asking them to keep it lit, that's when the room gets colder without you in it. Let them wonder who you became. Don't update them. Don't prove anything. Don't circle back just to show growth. Let your absence become a question they can't answer. The Stoics didn't return to be seen. They evolved in silence and let the world catch up on its own. You want to be missed? Then become someone who no longer fits the version they held in their mind. Not out of spite, but because you outgrew the frame. Move forward so far, so deep, so differently, that even if they reached out, they wouldn't know where to place you. Let them wonder who you became when they weren't looking. Let them feel how far you've gone without needing their permission to go. Your emotional silence is a power they never expected. They thought you'd reach out, break, explain, bleed through the screen. But you didn't. You just held. No storm, no flood, just still water with depth they never bothered to measure. The Stoics didn't perform emotion. They processed it, quietly, completely, without letting it own them. You want to be missed? Then hold your center when the moment calls for chaos. Don't explode. Don't beg. Don't turn pain into a stage. Let them remember the way you felt everything and said nothing. Let them feel the weight of what you never made them carry. Because some of the strongest echoes come from the silence they were sure would break you, but didn't. They missed the one who stood still while they shifted. You didn't change your tone, you didn't bend your spine, you didn't lose your shape just to keep them close. You stood, not out of pride, but out of principle. The Stoics didn't move to stay loved. They moved only when the code demanded it. And when people drifted, they didn't chase. They remained, rooted, quiet, clear. That stillness, it haunts. Because when everything else is unstable, what doesn't move becomes impossible to forget. You want to be missed? Then stay where your values are. Stay where your truth is. Stay where they left you, unchanged, undistorted, undeniable. And when they finally look back, they won't miss the noise. They'll miss the one who didn't flinch when they walked away. You weren't made to be missed. You were made to be remembered. There's a difference. To be missed is about presence lost, but to be remembered is about impact that never left. The Stoics never lived for attention. They lived in such alignment that their absence left a mark deeper than their presence ever shouted. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be loved. You just have to be clear and consistent and complete in your shape. Let the memory they carry be not of the one who tried, but the one who stood. Let the echo they hear be not your voice, but the weight of who you became when they stopped looking. You weren't made to chase, to prove, to perform. You were made to be remembered because there was never anyone else like you.